For the past 11 days, thousands of people in cities and towns, tens of thousands really, across the country have been taking part in what have been, for the most part, peaceful demonstrations. And while we've shown you a lot of the chaotic moments as they were happening live on our air, we want to take some time now to talk about the peaceful moments and conversations that our reporters have had with the diverse group of people about why they have been coming out to participate in these demonstrations. We're back with our panel of reporters, Shaq Brewster in Minneapolis, Cal Perry in Louisville, Kentucky, and Garrett Haake in Washington, D.C. Garrett, let me just start with you because like Minneapolis, where you were, got very, very hot at moments. But in between your live reporting and tear gas and mounted police, there were real people who wanted real change.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Allie. And I found a way that sort of a visual that stuck in my head this whole time. After the very first night of the protest here, someone spray painted the side of a building right here near Lafayette Square. Let me show you that image. They wrote, "Why do we have to keep telling you that Black Lives Matter?" And every person I talked to here gave me this very similar mixes of anger, but also exhaustion at just how long they've been having this fight. And in my head, I was thinking back to, Michael Brown and Ferguson, or even all the way back to the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. Well, that building that spray painted on, I learned just today from a Washington Post story, used to be slave quarters at the Decatur House here in Washington, D.C. It just floored me. This whole concept of how long this fight is quite honestly just not something that I had really gotten my head around until this week from all the people I talked to sharing that exact sentiment.
Shaq Brewster, on TV on Thursday night with Brian Williams, I was describing how this was a mostly orderly protest. What I was saying was that the majority of the people there were orderly, but somebody set fire to the building behind me. And a lot of people were very critical of how can you call it orderly when there's fires burning and entire city blocks burning down. The fact is, I don't know what your experience was in Minneapolis, but most people I met in Minneapolis were peaceful protesters.
Definitely. And, the big thing that you have to remember, and that I continue to try to remind people, is that during the day, you have thousands and thousands of people who have participated in protests. Even today, you had thousands of people walking up to 6 miles to participate in a protest and have that demonstration. That's the majority of what you see. But the problem is it takes just a few of them. And it might be even a separate group. It just takes a small amount of people to cause that chaos and cause those scenes and to start a fire that burns and demolishes a building. And that's the problem that you see where, yes, you have the peaceful protest by day, but then you saw those scenes of destruction and pure devastation by night. One thing that stuck out with me, that first night that I came here, there was a gentleman who had a sweatshirt on that said, "I can't breathe." And it was the night that we saw that video, and I thought for a second, wait, you made that sweatshirt really quickly. And then I went up to him, and he reminded me, no, I actually bought this several years ago when Eric Gardner died. And that is something, and that's the frustration. That speaks to the anger that people had, the reason why people were out there, that they're fighting the same fight over again.
Cal Perry, you and I have worked together several times in our career, and you are the international guy. You have covered these things in real war zones, in real parts of the world where you would need a flak jacket and a helmet and a gas mask. I have never taken my bulletproof vest and worn it in America. I've never had a gas mask in America until this week. I never wore a helmet while reporting in America. This is all new.
It's been completely surreal, and it's been totally and entirely emotionally draining. And I have to constantly check myself and ask myself, how would I report this if I were overseas? And here's what it would sound like. Authorities put down peaceful protests in streets, blood in streets. President makes opposition party criminals. President threatens protesters as thugs. When I saw Garrett Haake put up pictures of unmarked authorities in D.C., alarm bells went off. Like, you and I would be calling back to New York if we were overseas saying, okay, this is the moment where things go bad. Unmarked secret police on the streets of a capital to put protesters down is unimaginable, but that's how we would report it overseas. And the bigger picture is even more convoluted. It's more confusing. It's the United States president is casting doubt on the democratic process. America used to be the country that would monitor elections, and I'm standing here in a square in an American city that was overrun with tear gas, people running and screaming, rubber bullets being fired, and I'm asking myself, who's going to monitor the process here if things really get out of control? Because the rhetoric that is coming from the White House is the kind of rhetoric that we hear in authoritarian regimes, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow crawl. It started on Inauguration Day when Sean Spicer came out and lied to the media and showed fake pictures, called us liars, said that we were all full of it, and from that moment on, it's been this slow slip and slide, and we're about halfway through. This is not chapter 1 in the authoritarian playbook. This is chapter 6. The end of this book is the democratic process that falls apart. So I am constantly checking myself on how would I report this overseas, because it is completely surreal, Ali.
And that is our job. And thank you to the three of you, Shaquille Brewster, Garrett Haake, and Cal Perry. You are here symbolizing the work of all journalists at NBC News. And I don't just mean the reporters, but the cameramen, the engineers, the sound technicians, the security, and all journalists who have been out there bearing witness no matter what organization they work with. So thank you for the work you are doing. It is important to democracy.